She did this by first ascertaining that the subjects did not have their ear licked by Pluto. They deny it happened. And then she exposes them to this information, ostensibly from the news, looks like a newspaper article about an employee who was working at Disney for many, many years in the 1980s and 90s. That would have been when our college-age subjects were children and would have gone to Disneyland. The man dressed up as the Disney character Pluto. He abused drugs while working for Disney. He developed a habit of inappropriately licking the ears of many visitors with his large fabric tongue. Pluto's disturbing behavior went unnoticed by management for years. So our subjects are getting this information about this bad Pluto. Other subjects get information about a good Pluto, one who licks ears affectionately and the kids like it and so on. And a third group does not get any information about Pluto at all. In this study, it could be said that using a fairly liberal definition that about 30% of the subjects fell for this suggestion and started to think that this may have happened to them. More subjects started to believe in the good Pluto experience. Both groups become a lot more confident. They deny at first they had their ear licked by Pluto, but after the manipulation, they become confident, relatively confident that they had this experience. And now for the new twist on this work. Would these false memories or beliefs have consequences? Would developing a false memory about a bad Pluto experience affect you in some other way, affect your future behavior, or your future intentions, or your future thoughts? To examine this, we asked subjects, how much would you be willing to pay for a Pluto souvenir, amongst other souvenirs that they might be willing to buy? And that red line shows you that after the manipulation, the people who fell for it don't want to pay as much for a Pluto souvenir, showing that these false beliefs have consequences. They affect later thinking. You might think this all sounds a little silly. Would there really be a bad Pluto operating out of Disney? But I will tell you that after we finished this study, a newspaper article appeared in our paper. Tigger was arrested on molestation charges. It's true. This was a big article. You can't read this. You probably can't even read what I'm blowing up here. But the little girl who claims that Tigger molested her was very detailed. Said that Tigger moved his hand up and down her right breast and started massaging it. After this, other people who read this article began to say, "Me too." So the man who wore the Tigger costume went to trial, and he was actually found not guilty. So this is not, such an unusual story. Our work on the consequences of having a false memory has been studied in another related way. I was able to demonstrate our research when the famous actor Alan Alda came to my university because he was filming a science program for a television series called Scientific American Frontiers. He's the host. And I decided to demonstrate for him, make him a subject, not a real subject, but a pretend subject, in our studies of the consequences of a false memory. So before he came to the university, he filled out many questionnaires about his childhood, about his food interest in foods, about his personality. And when he arrived, we gave him false feedback about his information. We told him that a very smart computer had created a profile of him and his early childhood experiences. And on that profile was one critical item. When you were a child, you felt sick after eating hard-boiled eggs. So we got him to try to think about the experience of getting sick, eating hard-boiled eggs, and these other experiences. And afterwards, we had a picnic in a park on the campus. And that is a park on the campus. And you can see some of my graduate students, Erin Morris on the left, on your left, and Tara Leahy on the right of the actor. They are collaborators in this research, along with Dan Bernstein, who is not at the picnic. And it was a really great picnic because the television people bought all the food. So it was sandwiches, cookies, drinks, all this food, and one plate of hard-boiled eggs. And I handed the eggs to the actor, and this is how he looked when I offered him a hard-boiled egg. He refused to eat the egg. Now, we don't know why Alan Alda did not eat the egg. Was he affected by the manipulation that made him think about getting sick as a child? But we do know that when we did this experiment with subjects, using a similar procedure, finding out about their food history, giving them false information, finding about their food history again, asking them what they want to eat at a party, here's what we found. To look at the consequences of planting a false memory of getting sick on either hard-boiled eggs or dill pickles for different subjects. We then asked people what they want to eat at a party, and here's what happened. Just for people who told us they had a memory or a belief. Now, this is how much people want to eat dill pickles or hard-boiled eggs at a party if they don't have any false feedback at all. This is how much people want to eat the foods if they were exposed to the manipulation, but they did not fall for it. This is how much people want to eat the food if they fell for our manipulation and they believed they had gotten sick eating hard-boiled eggs or dill pickles. They don't want to eat the food as much. And so we have shown that it is possible to plant a false memory of getting sick on a particular food, and these memories have consequences for subjects later on.